Hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. This episode, my name is Spencer. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. This is my third installment for my hypothetical podcast that hasn't been launched because everything so far has been recorded in the voice notes app of my iPhone 12 in a car. This is the studio I'm in. And I want to use this episode to discuss tools such as Vipassana Meditation and how I've learned about it, how I've engaged with it, and how I feel it's helped me. I hinted at this in the previous episode, my second episode, where I was discussing New Year's resolutions and some goals on my mind. Now, largely, the previous episode wasn't so much, hey guys, let's hunker down. Here are the New Year's resolutions. Here's how we're going to win. This is my winning strategy. This is all of it, everything. If you listen, and I suggest you do if you enjoy participating in my conversations, if you listen to that previous episode, you'll see that I take instead a more vulnerable lens of saying, hey guys, actually, this is where I'm at. I haven't done too much in the last couple of years. In fact, not only have I not done much, not only have I not really moved plot forwards, I've actually found myself to be regressing in a lot of ways. And using that platform of the previous episode as a way to really capture, I introduced this term called Me Now. It's like a journaling documentation tool. I discussed it in that episode. It's a chance to just really capture the truth of right now. And as much as I do indulge in all of that, I also make it quite a point to say, hey, but despite all this, I am extremely keen on transcending this place where I'm at. Of course I have goals. Of course I'll go after my goals. Of course I'm looking to win in the ways that matter to me. And while I haven't experienced what looks like outward success, the accolades of having a really cool job with good money, or a very fit body, or a super duper cool, actually I do have a cool social circle, but my social circle, it's cool based on my love, my opinion, just like the people I absolutely love. But what if I could have been, I could have been making a Hollywood based network, hanging out with all these people who I actually kind of know very distantly, all the cool people with tons of followers on social media and align with them and go to their parties. Like I could have been investing in that world. So it's the outwardly optics that I haven't really been participating in. However, what I do sort of hint at throughout the previous episode is how there has been some degree of regression when it comes to my inner world and feeling a sense of resolve. So we're still on that theme of New Year's resolutions. Happy New Year. This will be posted around the beginning of 2026. I've been feeling a lot of resolve over the last few years with who I am, where I'm at, where it is that I would like to be going. And this feeling of resolve, despite not having the outward optics all lined up for other people to applaud at or envy even. Because there was a time when it felt like my life was trending so perfectly in like dream come true directions. I'll discuss a little bit of that, it might sound unrelatable, and every loop, every thread I open could actually require its own episode. For instance, when I left school or pursuing higher education when I was 20 years old. And I made that choice for a good reason, because at the time, the only types of programs at school I was interested in were programs that, frankly, I'm not going to become a lawyer. I'm not becoming a doctor. When it comes to having education, of course, it's always probably going to help me in the job world to get the education, to get the paper, to get the bachelor's, to get the whatever. Sure, it might help. But in the programs I resonated with at school, art, philosophy, ethics, actually, the program I was accepted into at 20 years old, a little later, because I had to finish high school and adult education, I was accepted into a program called Community Recreation Training, and it's actually a really badass program. I was really, 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 really pumped on it, and it was cool because I nailed the interview process, nailed it, And I was not surprised because at 20, I'd already been really working on aspects of social dynamics, social skills, communication skills, all the soft skills, all the life skills I was pursuing between flunking high school and then pursuing higher education. While all of my peers were just like doing the script of, oh, we go to school, we do that, I was sort of at a younger age confronting the existential crisis of what am I doing and who am I? And sure, I'm not in school, but that doesn't stop me from reading books. That doesn't stop me from participating in life. That doesn't stop me from having a real world lived experience. And that's what I was focusing on. So when I had the chance at 20 to apply to this program that had a pretty extensive application process with in-person interviews, group interviews, it went on for 3 hours. I nailed it every step of the way. And I mean, I remember being 20 in that environment, and a lot of my, like, I don't know, the competition, if you will, a lot of the other people who were applying, they were a couple of years younger than me, obviously. They were more, 17, 18. And I remember thinking like, okay, well, it's not even a competition. If anything, the way I felt was more like a community leader in that space, because I felt like, the kids around me they seem kind of nervous. It's their first time in like the big boy, big girl lane of life, where, now we're with the pressure's on, we're doing interviews, like people are judging you. And here I am, I sort of have a few more years of real lived and character built experience. So I wasn't seeing people around me as competition. I was seeing them as like vulnerable young people. And so I was really existing in that group interview type of space as being a supportive person. I felt a lot of empathy for the people around me. So when I got news that I got accepted to this program that was like a dream, out of all the options available to me, that was like, oh, this is it. Being some sort of community-based leader person, someone who could participate in recreational activities. I've always been very interested in like youth as in creating environments to help give youth tools to engage with, because those are the things that really helped me when I was a teenager. And in fact, initially when I wanted to go to school, I wanted to study child studies, but I didn't. Long story. I don't want to get into that one. I kind of got in and then kind of didn't at the last minute. I had a rug pull because my math was no bueno. And anyways, so at 20, when I nailed this interview to get into school, community recreations, I got in based on the interview, accepted. But I got a letter from my school saying, however, my transcript, the grades, the actual performance of my grades wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough. So it was like, yes, you're in, and yet no, you're not. And I had the option to, in the meantime, beef up my transcript and take a different path in the meantime and then get into that program. But I started to do the life math in my head at 20 years old where I'm like, what even is the point? For real. The program itself is going to be 3 years. I'm starting this sort of late. I have nothing against that, by the way. Still to this day, I wonder, I could go back to school. Go back to school late, no problem. But with where I was at in my head at 20, with my urgency, my self-awareness of just, I'm not trying to be a doctor. I'm not trying to be a lawyer. So the question I asked myself is, Spencer, do you want to feel afraid right now? Afraid and confused about what you're doing with your life right now and rip the Band-Aid off and just get right into it and just go explore life? Or, Spencer, would you like to delay the fear of the unknown for the next 3 to 4 years and complete this program? This program that, again, it's not the type of education that is really, it's not like it would help, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. It's not one of those life paths. So should I delay the fear or should I just jump into life now? And funny, when I asked myself that question, it was one of these almost God-sent moments, a moment of clarity where there's a parting in the sky and I realize it's true. For me, it is fear. I feel fear. And for me personally, engaging with school at that time was just a chance to delay leaning into life. And so I took an alternative path. And so this is where the reason why I'm introducing this subject is because while there's outward optics that I've felt really proud of, there was a transition period also in my mid to late 20s when I diverted from the path I was on, the path that looked good and felt good. And people thought, wow, so cool what you do. I got really lucky at times. So after I dropped out of school, my focus was, I actually don't know. That's the point, right? I'm afraid. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I really don't know. And so be it. So what I started to do was just focus on getting jobs, entry-level jobs. At that point, I did hotel housekeeping. I've done cashier job. I did a little nanny stint for a while for a friend of a family of a friend's children. And I was also posting videos on YouTube. I was also going out of my way to align with certain communities. I'm going to save the pickup artist lore for another episode because that rabbit hole is so deep for me. It's just too deep. And I would align with these people who are online. They were sort of in an influencer status thing. And I would pay money to go to their programs and meet the gurus behind the scenes, befriend people. Really just in my young 20s, I was just developing my work ethic. Oh yeah, a very key job I somehow brushed over. I worked as a recycling sorter, what I prefer to call a garbage sorter or garbage babe, because as much as, yes, I was working at a recycling sorting factory, believe me, it's not just like a bunch of clean plastic. It was largely sifting through actual disgusting, wet, filthy garbage and really grueling, back-breaking, garbage, disgusting work. So absolutely gross. I say this with the biggest smile on my face because I am, it's my highlight of life so far. Best job ever in the most character developing way possible. Best job ever when I was 21, and I did it again at 22. So I was really focused on being confused and afraid of life as it is, because I felt like that's kind of what it is to be out of school and be on my own. Well, on my own, as if I have, people supporting me. I have a family that I could always lean on, but just confronting life and what's ahead of me, developing my work ethic, because I thought, okay, no matter what, while I might not learn the school, I might not get the school accolades, the education, I might not have that, but I know what I can do is just work on the utility of being a worker, being a hustler, having grit. And that's why I'm so fond of the garbage work, because I've worked hard in all of my jobs ever. In fact, I'm uniquely really passionate about jobs, even the dumb, trivial, menial work. Something about it, my soul is I don't know what happened in past lives. I'm really into labor. I enjoy it. Get my gritty work ethic locked in so that even if I don't have the education, I could still say hey, but I'm capable. I do shit and I learn. And then I was building my network and I'd meet people and I'd kind of travel around, especially the United States, and sort of just get myself on the radar of these people, which was the pickup artist company. Maybe the next episode is about that. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe. It's big can of worms there. And I was posting YouTube videos, and at some point the network that I was sort of aligning with in a casual sense, I never, ever hard sold myself ever. At some point, I made a YouTube video that actually popped off pretty big considering the industry, the niche. It hit 360,000, whatever, just a very well-viewed video. This company had my phone number in their system because I'd been a paying client before. And I was making a YouTube video about them, and they really liked it. They really liked how I did the video, how I expressed myself, and how I leveraged clickbait and things that were sort of intuitively good marketing skills. Okay, it was intuitively, because I didn't do research, I was just speaking from my heart, and I had some sense, because the video, which is unlisted on YouTube, it's unlisted. I've heard you could find it if you go click around and find a link. I'm not going to private it because you're welcome to if you want to dig for that, but I'd rather keep it unlisted. It's called Feminist Reveals Shocking Truth About Pickup Artist Seminar, which, just imagine that title. Feminist Reveals Shocking Truth About Pickup Artist Seminar. I had the title in my mind before I even recorded the video. And then the thumbnail photo was a picture of me having this really sneaky look on my face, a smile and just kind of sneaky eyes. and I had my arm up and I had my armpit hair fully grown out, my armpit hair. So it really is like, I'm a feminist, maybe in the way that people in the male spaces are afraid of. But in the end, it was a bait and switch, because the video had, at the time I had a lot more favor for them and what they were doing. Not pick, this is what I'll cover in that episode when I discuss it. It's not pickup. It's not that. It's the good that they were doing. It's the good the terms of self-help tools that I believe in, that can be applicable to anyone, regardless of their outcome, their goals. So they had my number in the system. That video blew up, and it'd been a while, because I still would meet people when I'd go and travel to Chicago, New York, at Los Angeles, whatever, kind of like follow around their little circus troupe of pickup artistry. And people would say, hey, I saw your video. Hey, I'm here because of your video. Actually, I'm literally here. Like, I was sort of a little low tier celebrity in this little weird niche of the world for a while. And even though months and months passed where I was just being that kind of low tier public figure because of YouTube video, nothing happened. But one day, November, I remember exactly because it changed my life. Actually, I don't remember the year. Yeah, it was 2017. 2017, November 20th. I was taking a nap in my apartment before my shift at a grocery store as a cashier. And my phone's ringing. And I guess 2017, what am I? I'm 22 years old. My phone is ringing. It's a number from the United States, and I'm from Canada. So I'm kind of like, okay, I don't know what the hell this is. And I answer it groggy, right? Because I'm taking a nap. I'm like, hello. And on the other end, a man is speaking, and it takes me literally a minute to realize what was happening. At first, I thought it was someone from that company doing a sales call, outbound sales call. That's what I thought. So I was kind of like, oh, hey, yeah, what's up, man? How's it going? And then I realized, wait, like, this is the founder of the company. This is the guy. That's the CEO called me. Okay, I know I'm tripping, because you have to imagine at the time, for me, it's, what is happening here? And on the phone, he's telling me, he has a really interesting way of speaking. He's telling me, Spencer, I saw your YouTube video. I really liked it. I want you to work with us. I want you to work with us starting, tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Okay. He kind of, like, a shout out to him. Okay. I have my critiques of everyone involved, but in that moment where this man basically gave me a chance to change my life, even though I didn't solicit it, I didn't apply, none of that was happening. I have a gratitude for him in that moment, but he does kind of talk like a supervillain, I must say. I want you to start tomorrow. Yes, you're going to come to Las Vegas tomorrow. So you can imagine, for me, I have my cashier shift in about like 30-40 minutes. I got to get up, got to go to work. And I have literally my, at the time, dream job, unsolicited, calling my personal cell number, telling me, drop everything and come to Las Vegas to start this job. Wild. I started to negotiate, kind of like, hey man, wow, this is amazing, right? It's awesome. It's amazing. But I have to get, like, even if I want to do this, like, I kind of have to get some things in order. So we negotiated a few days from that phone call. I would get on a flight that they paid for, and I'd go to Las Vegas and start interning, which, by the way, was unpaid at first and eventually got paid. Start interning at the company in the marketing department, which I'll save a lot of this for that episode. So I'm gonna wrap it up and keep on with what the end result of this is, the whole losing the outward accolades and working on the inner world. So I'll save it, put a pin in all of that for how that narrative unfolded. But you can imagine how, oh my goodness, guys, I didn't go to school. I didn't get a chance. Well, I mean, I had the chance, of course, but I chose not to. I opted out because, I mean, it never, ever, ever occurred to me to study branding or marketing or business. It's not my thing. Sure, when I made that YouTube video, I maybe had a natural intuition about what would just be like decent clickbait and like a good video, but it's not even inherently a talent. I think I just felt uniquely inspired making that video. And here I am getting this opportunity served to me like again, heavens are parting and saying, "Hey, Spencer, just take it. We like you. You're cool. We like you. You have no experience, no qualifications. Just take it." And that was a great job because it gave me the chance to get some training, get some real skin in the game in a digital marketing sense in 2017 up until 2019. I worked with people on my team who had a background in marketing through education, and I asked them like, "Hey, how much do you think that has helped you?" And they said, "Not at all." and I doubt that. I'm sure that they were just speaking in a very absolute way. I'm sure that it did help them. Are you kidding me? Of course it would have. But they were saying that basically once they got the job, it's really about being in the job and learning things as you go. And I was very grateful to have a team around me who were good at training me. And of course, I'm good at learning. And I got to kind of really be valuable in that sense. And I got real life marketing experience. And when I eventually left that job, it led to another job where I got to work as a more important person in a marketing and branding sense. And I got to make way more money than I ever, especially at the age of 24 and 25 and 26 is around when I stopped doing that. And I thought, man, I'm not good with numbers. I was really shocked when I realized at the time I was making more money than my own mother. I mean, it's not like my mom's like making a tremendous amount of money, but it was a weird perspective shift because, hey, I never thought about that. I never thought about that, making more money than one of my parents. It was sort of this moment of, whoa, like that could be possible. It's almost like, oh, am I not a kid anymore? Am I not a kid anymore? Of course, when you're a contractor and you're just making income. I hope a tax person isn't listening to this right now. I'm screwed. This is a lie. This is all alleged. Not that much money, but it was just the perspective shift of like, is this like I'm evolving and my life is trending in a cool direction and I have like a cool social life. I have cool accolades. Cool things are going for me. I'm in great shape, all things considered. Like I'm just doing like really well. Shit, I'm fucking cool. Fuck all of you. I'm so cool. Fuck you. And then again, another story that requires its own episode. If you follow tarot cards, and I know in the previous episode I was saying my astrology chart really quickly. I was like, I'm a Pisces sun, Leo moon, Virgo rising. And I also said, I'm sorry to anyone listening to this who doesn't resonate with this stuff. It just is what it is. I'm someone who thinks I like to consider everything. Why not? Just for fun. Life's short. My mind works that way. And then same with tarot cards. Of course, you don't need to subscribe to what I'm saying. I think tarot cards are just like fun and cute, if you will. I could also, in other lights, see it a lot deeper than that. But it depends. So for the sake of being relatable, I just want to say, if you're familiar with tarot cards, there's a card in the deck called the Tower. And if you're not familiar with tarot cards, the Tower is a card that represents destruction and change. And so, after I had all these accolades collected, that made me feel outwardly really good because it's cool and easy to validate someone like me. Wow, Spencer, you got really, first of all, somehow you just knew all along you could drop out of school. You could just go work these silly, disgusting, hardworking jobs, really build a backbone in that sense, do a little bit of networking with your social skills, go like lean into life, take risks, place bets that you don't even know how they're going to pay off. And then your, at the time, dream company is going to reach out to you unsolicited and summon you and fly you across into the other side of the United States and give you this opportunity that you wouldn't have even thought to apply to because you didn't even think about it. And now you get to have digital marketing skills, and you get to upskill into a better job, a better paying job. You have things are cool. Even at the time that some of this was happening, the pandemic started, and I was very fortunate compared to a lot of other people. The pandemic itself is a great representation of a tower moment for all of us. But I have to admit, when I was 25, because actually the lockdown in my city was announced the day before my birthday on March 11th. So it was interesting timing, if you can imagine. When that was happening, it was, I'm fine because I have my people who I see, who I love, who are really making my life feel very full. I have my job that's paying me more than I understood what to do with at the time. And I just want to be really clear. In all things considered, it was not that much money. It's just the way I live. I have such a low cost. I have like low taste, like I have inexpensive taste. So any excess feels like a lot of excess at the time. So, I was making money. I wasn't struggling the way people were during the pandemic. And outwardly, it's just like, bro, my life's cool. What are you going to do about it? But then in 2021, so 4 years ago, I was hit by a car while riding my bike. And that, of course, is a story in itself. But the short of it, the long story short is that was really scary. I got really lucky, and I saw it as to be a really big tower moment, because as absolutely challenging and devastating and scary that moment was, that day, it was September 10th, 2021, when that happened. What was truly devastating and continued to be a tower moment was how everything kind of fell off for me thereafter. And again, that could just be its own story, but the short of it all is my knees were very hurt, and it was bad, and it has been bad, and actually has continued to just be present in my life. I'm much, 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 much better for it now, but it exists. Like, it's a thing now. It's a part of the plot so far, even all these years later. My head, I hit it for sure. Oh, for sure. I wasn't so sure because I couldn't feel, like, I didn't feel the sensation like, oh, my head hurts. It never felt like that, but I quite literally had skin and hair missing. Like, it's almost like I'm fine. I was in such shock and disbelief, and I'll be happy to discuss that in its own space, where I can discuss being hit by the car and what that tower moment was for me. I didn't feel like, oh, my head hurts. But girl, like, you're missing a patch of skin and hair at the top of your head. So obviously you hit your head. Not to mention there was a woman in the distance, one of my bystanders, yelling to the police when all the first responders came on the scene, saying, she hit her head so hard. I saw everything, which I felt, because I was in shock, I felt actually fine. But when that woman was saying that, I was really disoriented. Like, girl, what are you talking about? I hit my head really hard. I remember thinking, like, lady, can you just calm the fuck down? You sound insane. But then as the months would unfold after I got hit by that car, I would often think about how she was saying that. I'd be like, dude, yeah, maybe she's right. I don't know. Like, I think head trauma is a very unique thing. And with that, everything fell apart, because I realized that while the job I had was really cool in theory, it was very bad for me. It wasn't always bad. I want to be really clear. I don't want to be too explicit about what job I'm talking about, because I loved it, and I loved having the chance, and it was good. Like, I've worked in actual toxic environments. That one was toxic for its own unique reasons, but overall it was not bad the way I've worked for other places that I deem to be bad. It's just that it wasn't good for me. And when my head was different after that accident, and when everything was different, the values I had started to shift, and I realized I'm a workaholic, and that's not good for me. You want to know what? Maybe I don't even have to do the episode of getting hit by the car, because I'm kind of doing it now. When I was hit by the car, I was brought into an ambulance, which I tried to not be. I tried to be like, listen, guys, I'm fine, because I'm in shock. I'm in shock and I'm in denial. I'm fine. The reason why I eventually succumbed to the ambulance is because when I was inside and they're checking my vitals and all the whatever, I was seated, and I said, I'm good. I don't want to do this. Thanks. Like, I'll just take an Uber home, basically. They had me sign a waiver. The paramedics have to sign a waiver to say that I'm telling them I do not want to be taken to the hospital, because I'm sure liabilities or whatever. And I signed that waiver. I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. And I go to stand up. I put my hands on whatever surface is next to me to support my weight. I go to stand up on my feet. And in the process of attempting to stand up in that ambulance, I just felt my knees buckle in pain. And I just sat right down on my butt. And then I looked at the paramedics, probably whimpering a little bit because it's a moment of vulnerability of realizing, damn, this is kind of scary. And I said, you know what? We're already here. I'm already inside. Maybe I will take the ride to the emergency room. In fact, let's do that. And so they put me in a stretcher. They put a neck brace on me for the ride and also to be in the hospital, just in case. My neck was fine. Thank God, right? Like, that's the cool thing about the takeaway of this experience is I was actually okay. But when I was in the ambulance, let me just be clear, my job at the time that was paying me nicely, and I was really happy to have, we had a product launch happening, and we are always kind of launching. This is the failure of the model of digital marketing nowadays, I find. Now, since then and nowadays, is everything is a launch. Everything's a sprint to a launch, to a launch, to a launch. Everything's a launch, and then it's the next launch, and everything's a friggin' launch, and I don't know. It's just, it's not that it's bad. It's not inherently bad, but there's just something a little empty about it. It's always sprinting to give a launch. It's all about the dopamine rather than having, another aspect of marketing is having like an evergreen system where it's just kind of existing and it's powerful in and of itself. And it's maybe a slower burn, but it's a more sustainable burn. It's a more sustainable funnel. So I was working in like the launch crisis mode of always launching. And I was kind of in charge of it. So my life was always a little bit stressful. Because that's also the price you pay when you're paid a nice price, is you are responsible for producing those results. And there I am in the stretcher with the neck brace on, and I reach into my bag where I had a laptop, and I just start working on the emails and the things that need to go out. And that, I didn't realize that was so insane until later. Because again, being in shock, anyone who's ever been in some sort of accident, you'd probably know, like, this happens, like you're in shock. It's really surreal to think about in retrospect. Like, what the fuck? My priorities, that's all. It's like, yeah, I was having some existential thoughts even in the moment of like, whoa, that could have been really bad, this whole car hitting me. Oh, by the way, I was riding a bike. So it's like the speed of the oncoming driver and me sort of canceled each other out. So it was I just want to be clear, it was like a really fast, it happened really fast. And obviously I was not wearing a helmet, hence the hair and the skin on my head missing. And yeah, I had existential thoughts in the ambulance, but I also was like, yeah, but I got to get this freaking launch thing out. God damn, I have to. And it was sort of all the weeks thereafter. And I want to be clear again, the people I was working with were really understanding after I told them, because I didn't tell them right away, got to get the launch done. After I told them, hey, by the way, I was hit by a car. That happened, just by the way. I know this because the individual I was working for, he had valid feedback on an email I sent out that day. He said, it was kind of shit. And I'm okay with that feedback, by the way, because I like honest feedback so I could get better. But, that was the nature of the relationship. It's kind of shit. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I'll do better next time. Thank you for letting me know. And then I just casually put in like, oh, by the way, I'm at the hospital right now. But just by the way, in case just in case any like communication patterns seem a little unusual right now, I just want to be clear. I'm in the hospital right now. I was hit by a car. No big deal. I really played it down. No big deal. And, but in the weeks following, I really realized that the tower moment, the inciting event of getting hit by the car, yeah, it was just that. It was just the inciting event. It was everything that would then unfold thereafter, where my value shifted into recognizing, Spencer, it's a little problematic that like, that's where your head's at. Got to keep the job, got to be that person, got to hustle, got to be resilient, got to be tough, got to be practically freaking bulletproof. Oh, I could do anything. I could do everything. Doesn't matter. I'll keep working. I'll keep hustling. So then I would realize this is messed up, Spencer. You gotta like, you're allowed to have boundaries and not be on 24/7, because that's always how I felt. Even in the previous job with the pickup artist, the culture was always hashtag hustle culture, much more so in that previous that pickup artist company, much more so. Hashtag hustle, Christmas, hustle, birthday, hustle. And so my head was really subscribed to that. That's where I found a sense of worthiness. And that's where I found my value, was being a performer, being someone who hustles. Put me on a garbage sorting line. I hustle. I hustle harder than all of them. Put me in this job that I'm like trying to justify that I'm qualified for. I'll hustle when I'm in the ambulance. I'm going to hustle, baby. I'll hustle. And in the weeks following, when I shifted and realized, Spencer, you gotta say no sometimes. Not no, I'm not doing my job, but it's completely appropriate that if someone on the team says like, hey, let's do a strategy call. How about let's do tomorrow at so-and-so time. Let's do a big strategy call. Well, actually, tomorrow I already have something on my schedule. And I remember this was a real thing that happened. I had like literally, I had like a vigil, like I had like a grief ceremony for a lost loved one on my schedule. It was already there. And so when I said, hey, sorry, I can't do that. And I started to notice that due to the culture that had already been curated in this working relationship had already been enabled. It's already been enabled. That was not received well. And I started to notice, oh my God, when I propose a boundary, when I'm not just like there, when I'm not just like consistently always ready and willing to be there, I almost feel like I'm getting punished for it. And I started to notice that more and more, the more I would have reasonable boundaries, not little pussy bitch sucker, like, oh no, I don't want to, but a truly actual reasonable boundary. Like for instance, if I take time off and I communicate it 2 months in advance and I get everything ready in the meantime, like there's no reason to need to suck anything from me once it's been communicated in a responsible and like professional way. And yet in some senses that would happen due to just the culture of, that kind of model of like launch, go. Dopamine. We need the money. Like we're always so reactive. I would notice that like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And it actually, sadly, that job ended in a really, like, I was really fucking pissed, I'll be honest. I let it go on too far. Another thing with boundaries, I let it go on way too far. I should have quit while I was ahead. If I could turn back the clock, which I don't care. I don't actually have regrets here. I just know I could have done better. If I could turn back the clock on that job, I just would have quit while I was ahead before things got soured. But I was so committed to being resolute, to being resilient, to pushing through, even though I was low-key kind of losing my mind. And I actually, especially after the accident, probably should have taken a hiatus and should have actually stepped back and should have let myself, do what I need to do to take care of myself. But I resisted it because I was identified. I had these identities I was attached to, and I had not yet accepted that the page has already turned. The inciting event already happened. My invitation to stop trending in the direction I was trending in has already happened. And now I've overwhelmed my stay. I didn't know. And I hit the breaking point where sadly I ended my relationship to the job in a more sinister and upset way. And and this is going to sound really bad for if I want to get a job and there's like a recruiter listening to this being like, this bitch is crazy. That's why I hope this whole socialdynamicsnerd.com thing works out for me. That's my website, because I kind of like speaking off the cuff and not censoring myself. And if like a recruiter's listening to this right now, they're going to be like, this bitch is crazy. But I really don't even regret it, leaving the way I did, because I feel like I had to get something out of my system. And it's no one's fault. It's literally that of my own. Like I let myself get so spread thin on being a workaholic who has to constantly prove themselves through effort. And again, I didn't realize that the page already turned. My time to stop trending in that direction had happened, and yet I stuck to it. That's the nature of attachment. And so my life started to unfurl because I left the job in a really dramatic way. And for any recruiters listening, I just want to be clear, myself and that person I worked with, we have a good relationship. It's all good. It's all patched up, baby. It's all good. So just to be clear, I have the adult, mature ability to move on and apologize and also have empathy. And, I wasn't the only one in the wrong, I have to say. Like, that's where the empathy comes from. It's, hey, we're both fuck-ups, you and me. The person I was working with. We're both fuck-ups. How about that? But it's okay. And so I want to be clear to the recruiters. It's all good. It's all good. What happened, happened. And I lost the job. I lost the income. I started to then take the time to take care of myself, which meant I didn't lose the job and then think, gotta go get another one. I just stayed unemployed, floating, and I had money, sure, but I spent it all in the coming year plus. I spent it all so that I could just take care of myself and heal. And it was really rough. I have to admit, like, without going into all that, it wasn't just job related. It was everything crashing down. It was seeing all these things I was attached to and identified with just crashing around me. And I have to admit, like, that was probably the last time that I felt super dark for a period of time. And I mentioned in the previous episode, the way I live with my best friends and their babies. Shout out to them. And when the first child was born, I felt no pressure on him. No pressure on him. I want to be clear because I can imagine, like, this is like maybe a crazy thing to say. But I wasn't feeling good at that time of life in late 2021. And then going into 2022, when my friend's baby was born, I was really sad consistently and feeling so lost and lacking meaning. And just imagine, my head was so frazzled. I was so confused. That's the nature of the tower moment, the tower card. And I remember when that boy was born, it was my 27th birthday approximately. And I actually was like already living with my friend and her baby and her partner, who's also my friend. And it would be so funny because sometimes I'd be in my room at the age of 27, like I'd just be in my room crying, which is great, because you got to let it out, got to purge the emotions. I'd be in my room just crying and feeling bad for myself, really bad for myself. And then my friend, the mother, she would walk into my room holding her infant son and be like, hey, I need a pee. Can you just hold him? And I'd wipe away my tears and go, yeah, of course. And then she'd hand me the infant boy and I would stare at him. You know how like a newborn looks? They look like a little alien. Like eventually they become cute, but at first it's like an ambiguous cute. Like they're sort of ugly in an alien way. I'd be holding this little alien who'd be staring up at me. He himself can probably barely see. His vision hasn't even quite evolved. He's staring up at me looking confused and infant-like. But I'd stare back at him and think, life is crazy and bumpy and scary, but like, this is so nice. It's so crazy. Like, look at this little baby. So cool. So that would kind of continue to happen where I guess the timing of it all, I was very fortunate that one of my best friends welcomed a very like important new person into life. And it just so happened that I think regardless of that baby's existence, this boy's existence, I think knowing the tools of my mind and how I do resolve to come to persevere. And the depth of that intention, you can listen to a lot more in the first episode of this podcast, because I do share a lot more like deeper takes and perspectives on my philosophy of life and why I do the things I do and who I do them for. And it's not just for me. It's for someone else. It's a feedback loop. It's for me and you and me and you and me. So I think regardless of that boy's birth in my life, I would have figured it out. But I do attribute the timing of like, oh yeah, it sort of shifted my perspective on my problems and like the crisis that I perceived myself to be in. And it made me appreciate like the freshness of like this young person and all the potential and like who I get to be in their life as a symbol. And, that helped define the inner world for me. And now that you've sort of seen the context of the decade of the 20s for me, you see how in the beginning it started with me already opting out of the social script, as I like to call it, of going to college and doing all that, and then doing university, and then using your school accolades to apply for the job, and then doing all of that. Instead, I opted out. I chose a different path. I focused on soft skills, life skills, being a person skills, things that school doesn't inherently teach you. I focused on developing a work ethic that could stand the test of time and industry. Doesn't matter. I don't have an ego about it. You put me in front of garbage or a disgusting toilet, or you put me in front of a computer and give me a chance to promote your 6-figure, 7-figure plus launch, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to hunker down and do it. I don't have an ego. I love to work. Hiring managers, if you're listening to that, a hiring manager and HR person can never appreciate me. And this I know from personal experience. HR girl, I really hope that my previous HR person is listening to this, because I did have a job in the last 2 years. I really hope you guys are listening to this, because I just want to say again and again, just like I said on my way out of that job over a year ago, almost exactly, I just want to say, hey, I really meant it. You guys could never understand who I am or what I'm about. You fully underestimate. I think that sometimes people in those corporate environments, or like your leaders, sadly, are your biggest ops, because they have a lens that is their reality where they're inadequate. Yeah, I'm shooting shots. I hope you are listening. They're inadequate. They have assumptions of how people are stealing time or have wishy-washy intentions, and they could not possibly relate to the reality that, no, motherfuckers, there are some real ass, honest people who actually like to get down and dirty and do the work and love it. And love every step of the way. And so they, because they can't relate to that personally, they just believe like they conspire against everyone and question motives and stuff. And you're lost. So that's the experience. Built the work ethic, the network, the serendipitous chance to get what at the time was my dream job with the world's largest pickup artist company, a story that needs its own time and space to exist. Then evolving into an even better job, better money, better optics, better life, like as approved by society, only to have it all very suddenly, forcibly torn away through getting hit by the car and everything that unfolded thereafter. And how, I hit my head. Things changed. My mind changed. The way I appreciate time and my life has changed. My body's changed, which I discussed a lot in the previous episode with how my 2026 New Year's resolution is about getting back in shape, and not even in an aggressive hustle type of way, just in the way of, dude, I want to feel embodied again. Because also when you experience when I have experienced that physical trauma, and now I have like a persistent injury, or what do they call it? Like chronic illness, not chronic illness, but like a pain that just exists in my knee, specifically my left knee. I'm consistently reminded of the experience, and it like haunts me, but I don't always feel bad about myself. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel bad for myself. I'm like, fuck, this sucks. But then I also have to remind myself, Spencer, you're so lucky you're walking. Jesus, fuck, you're so lucky. And as soon as I think that, I'm like, yeah, no, amen to that. I'm not that religious, but yeah, no, that will make me believe in something, because yeah, no, I'm very, very lucky. And I just want 2026 to get back in shape. But so why am I saying all this? I know it's been a long preamble. I guess I'm not going to try to keep this too concise. Let's just hunker down. We're in it. I hope you're driving. I hope you're cleaning your room. I discussed that in the previous episode too. Cleaning your room, doing the tasks that are helping you and making you feel good. And let's just lock in, because now, although after the age of 26, I lost a lot of the things I felt attached to, with that loss, with that destruction, with that tower moment, I also got to find a lot of resolve in my inner world. And like I said, some of it's related to just perspective. It's my unique mind of how I will myself to find the silver lining, because I owe it to myself and I owe it to you. I had my friend's baby come into the picture, which opened up my mind a little bit, put things into perspective. This whole life thing, put it into perspective. And I also engaged with Vipassana meditation. So I found out about Vipassana meditation when I was earlier in my 20s, because my girlfriend at the time was into it. One of my best friends was into it. I just had a network of people close to me that had done Vipassana 10-day silent meditation retreats. And they would tell me about it, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, cool. I mean, that sounds interesting. I'm down. But imagine, at the time, I was always working. So I didn't do stuff like that because I was always working. And what I did do is, between the time I worked for the pickup artist company where I left at 2019. And then I started the next job later in 2019. I had like a few months before I found my next employment thing. I did actually travel to Peru and work with ayahuasca, which is also a whole other can of worms in itself. Ayahuasca is a plant, a medicinal plant that is often found in places like the Amazon rainforest, in Peru, or where else. I mean, it's international. You can probably find ayahuasca everywhere as long as someone's there to facilitate it. And those ceremonies are very intense. Long story short, they're extremely intense. And my girlfriend at the time had really great pushback. She's very wise, very wise. She said, it's great that you can go to the jungle and drink ayahuasca and all this and that, but how do you think you would do in a 10-day silent meditation retreat? No speaking, no substances, no like sensationalism of the experience. It's just you and yourself meditating. And I love a challenge. I have such an ego. So I was like, damn, yeah, screw that. I'd already done the whole jungle juice experience. I'd already done that. Now I've never sat for 10 days of silence. And here's my girlfriend at the time saying, it's tough. Try it. And I like a challenge. So in 2023, and that's a couple years after I was hit by the car, in 2023, I actually started the job that I was just shitting on when I was saying to HR, because I really hope you're listening. I really hope that I'm so interesting enough that you're listening. I'm wired like that. I'm petty. I'm spiteful. Hi. Thanks for being here, by the way. No hard feelings. I just don't like how you people work. I don't like it. I got that job in 2023, entry-level job, back to being labor, back to just hustling in a way that I find to be fulfilling, the same way I found garbage work to be fulfilling. For instance, when I applied for this job, I'll speak a little more transparently because I don't care. I'm not going to name you guys. It's fine. It was a very successful cannabis production company in Montreal. And I applied as a trimmer. Yeah, someone who just holds scissors and you just trim weed all day long. Here I am applying with a resume that says I've worked for, big self-help companies as a digital marketer. I interviewed with the general manager of the company, and he's awesome. By the way, sadly, I do see him as like aligned with like the entity, but as an individual, I can tell this man is awesome. If he happens to be listening, hi, great time, great interview. Really cool guy, gave me a great impression about the company. And he, even during the interview, said like, listen, I looked at your resume. There's a reason why you're interviewing with me. It's because you have this kind of experience and it's interesting. And like, we do have a marketing department. So imagine that I sort of was confronted with a similar thing I had in my earlier 20s, when like a job is being presented to me that I didn't ask for. But because I had this burnout experience, this really complicated burnout experience where I'm in recovery. And this job was the first interview I was doing to get back in the game after my hiatus, after going completely broke and like recovering my mind as much as I can and my body. The next step I had to recover, the next thing I had to heal, which all things considered, as much as I'm a bit bitter, I have to say, shout out to you guys and that job, that cannabis production job, because it helped me build my confidence again. But when he proposed the whole marketing thing, I'm like, look, I think any sane person right now would be like, yeah, oh, wow, a marketing department? Tell me more. But for me, it was, no. I just want to work. I just want to work. I really want labor work, just to work. Sure, my body's not perfect. But like at that point, it wasn't terrible. I was feeling good. I felt spry on my feet. And I just want to get back to simple work. And I'm sure from the GM's point of view, I probably looked like a bit of a crazy person. But maybe now if you are listening, you have a deeper perspective as to where my head was at and why I made my decisions. And I went into the work of it all and I loved it. Trimming weed, the whole thing. Like I loved it. I really loved it. I would still do it to this day. I would. I would. It's fun. It's so cool. The harvest. Oh, wow. The funny thing is, and again, HR, like the entity of it all, like you guys could never understand someone like me, because the funny thing is I would actually pay them if I could participate in a harvest of cannabis again. No, I'll pay you. It's fine. I'll do it. It's so fun. So shout out to them. Like that job was very healing. And I did actually have an ulterior motive. Ooh, sorry. I had every intention to leave towards the end of the year and go to Argentina. Now, I didn't tell them that because if you are looking for a job, you probably want to keep some of your cards close to your chest. But I just needed some money because I was broke, baby. I was broke and it was time to work and get my confidence back. And so from February 2023 of when they hired me through to September 2023, I was just working and building up my savings so I could go to Argentina. It was on my bucket list, resolutions. I had a New Year's resolution that year in 2023. It was really firm. It was written down as the only goal I specifically accomplished in 2023, which was I will be, as a statement, declarative, I will be in Argentina to see my friend Martin, who I discussed a little bit in the previous episode. I can't wait for you guys to meet Martin through my interview with him. It hasn't happened yet, but it will. It's on the list. I will go to Argentina and I will be there by Q4. So that's be there by October 1st. So guess what? When I did have the money through summer 2023 to buy my plane ticket to Argentina, I bought it literally for the last day of September. What is that? The 30th? Yeah. I bought it for then so that I would be already in Argentina by the 1st, because that was my goal. And that was my only goal-oriented resolution of the year. And I accomplished it. And so I had to use the job as a means to that end. Even though I knew that the entire time, I didn't let them know. And I worked and I really enjoyed the job. I really enjoyed being there. I really started to identify with that. I started to identify with that job. And sometime a few months prior to my exit, I met with the GM and said, listen, the same one who interviewed me and hired me. I said, listen, I need to go to Argentina and I want to step away, but I don't want to quit because I was really liking the job. I want to just have a chance to step away, but also come back if you guys would have me, because I felt like it's low stakes. I'm still an entry-level laborer and I'm sure you guys like me based on my work ethic. So can we be win-win? Because I want to go to Argentina for 2 months and I don't really necessarily want to quit, but I do want to have the chance to come back if you guys would take me. And that, thankfully, that option was basically there. And I went to Argentina, but because funds were kind of limited, one of the things that I thought to do was, okay, well, here I am going back in kind of vacation mode, not working mode. Now, what's something that I can do with that time? Maybe I can do my first ever 10-day silent meditation retreat with Vipassana. Something I'd known about all of my 20s, something I've been at the back of my mind curious about. Maybe now is the time. Here was my attitude when I was thinking about Vipassana. Part of why that payoff seemed so interesting in this mode was because I didn't have too much money for hostels and everything. And I was actually planning to spend 2 months in Argentina. And so 10 days, here's something to know. Now I'm selling you Vipassana. 10 days, it's technically free. Vipassana is very based in its own rules of karma, okay? And dharma, it's being on the path and doing the work, but you don't actually need to necessarily pay for that work. Now you can, because donations are what keep it going. Vipassana exists because of donations. What's also interesting is that when you attend Vipassana, you are not allowed to donate until you finish your first 10 days. So you can't even just donate willy-nilly. They insist that you actually finish the experience and then you can donate. And do you have to donate? Now, I need to be fully transparent. I've now attended a Vipassana twice. 10 days of silence, of meditation twice. There was the first time in Argentina, and then there was the second time this year in 2025. I went for my birthday. I haven't donated to them financially yet. I have not. I've donated in the sense that, what I'm doing right now, I have every intention to discuss them when it's relevant because I feel like it's a really useful tool and I appreciate that it's accessible. You hear about other meditation techniques. I forget the one, but I've heard it on the Tim Ferriss podcast. A lot of people who can afford it do it. I forget what it's called. Transcendental? TM. Oh, David Lynch was really into it. Big advocate. I think what I've learned about TM is you got to pay at least $1,000 for it. And I'm sure it's great. I'm not doing that, at least yet. Surely it's great, but what I really loved about Vipassana is, listen, you can just do it. Just do it. The biggest cost is, can you allot it's not just 10 days. You got to think about the day of registration and the day you leave, because the experience itself is contained within 10 days. So technically it's more like 12 days. So it's expensive in the sense of your intentions, in how you commit yourself to the experience. That's the only way of which it's so expensive, but you don't have to pay for it. It's recommended you donate if you feel it's helped you. It's a no pressure thing. And then for people who can't donate or don't feel equipped to donate, you could do what I'm doing. I'm trying to be a bit of I'm discussing it and promoting it. But alternatively, and this is something I think is the next Vipassana I'll attend, because I'm into it, is going to be service. If you've attended a 10-day retreat before, then you're considered to be an old student. They call you an old student. And so it's cooler because when you're an old student, it's easier to get accepted into Vipassana because it's very in demand. It's easier to get accepted into the 10 days. You basically get to cut the wait list, and you're entitled to do service. So I haven't done it yet, but there are basically volunteers who are there serving your food, keeping things going. And I don't think they exist in entire silence, because I see them and hear them talk amongst themselves, but they do get to participate in the meditations throughout the day. And then they also get to offer their service, which is cool, because that's kind of what it is, right? It's, hey, I got to benefit from this thing. How can I pay it forward? How can I pay it back? So as much as, trust me, when I have the money, I will be donating to Vipassana, every intention to do so. I also just want to recognize where I'm at. It's not in the budget right now. I'm still picking up the pieces from the tower moment. Okay. I'm still working on it. I will be donating financially when I can, but I know the next thing on my list is I want to do the service. I want to actually be a volunteer at Vipassana and offer my energy to the experience. And I even feel as a person, I sort of donate my energy when I'm there just meditating, when I'm there just being my resolute self. And I have actually, in the times I've been to Vipassana, I've had good feedback from the fellow meditators when we are allowed speaking to each other. Day 10, you can break silence and talk amongst yourselves outside of the meditations, I've had people say hey, I was seeing you and I'd see a smile on your face, or just whatever. People would just validate however I was in the experience. And I get it, because I have a very refined way of carrying myself, especially in spaces like that. And I do see it as, it is a gift, the way you present or the way you occupy spaces, even in silence, it can be a gift to others. You really get to lead. I get to lead by example. And so when people would have this really kind feedback of how they had witnessed me in the days of meditation, I kind of felt well, first of all, thank you, but also yeah, duh. I don't know. That's what I'm about. I want to make every space that I engage in, I want to leave it as it is, or better. And sometimes better is how you energetically occupy a space. So, Vipassana, it's affordable. It's basically free. You just have to be able to take the 10 days off. And I don't want to spoil exactly what the experience is, but when I went in Argentina, I thought, okay, this was my attitude, a little naive, typical girl. Oh, I've been to Peru. I've drank ayahuasca. So whatever, 10 days, this is going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be so fun, actually. It's free, I don't have to pay for lodging. I don't have to pay for food. I'm going to be fed. I'm going to be meditating. I'm going to be in Argentina. It's going to be so great. Pro tip, if you're interested in Vipassana, dude, go on the website. I think it's dharma.org. Just look up Vipassana on Google. I shouldn't have done this to myself. It's Vippa, Vipassana, SSANA. Google will correct it for you. Look at your whatever search engine. Go to the website, check out your city. That's the other good thing about it, and that's why I did it in Argentina. It's everywhere pretty much. It's everywhere. The first one was in Argentina for me. Then the second one was in Quebec, where I live. It's everywhere. It's accessible. You can check when the 10 days are happening, because there's a schedule, and they have application start dates. If you are looking and you're a new student, so you've never done the 10 days before, you need to be early. And this is advice I got from my friends, because it's tough when you're a new student. It's harder to get access to. So check out what date you can start applying. Let's say January 20th, applications open for the experience that's going to be happening in March, okay? Or April. That's how it usually works. Check out the date they start. If you're actually into this, you want to do this, you take it seriously. Honestly, set an alarm. on that day, first thing in the morning. I don't even think it opens at midnight because I've done this. I have been you. Set an alarm. Midnight, it's not open yet. 3 a.m., not open yet. 6 a.m., oh, it's open. I don't know what time it actually opens, but that's kind of the attitude. You apply. It's a typical intake questionnaire. Yeah, they're kind of going to assess like where you're at, you know, because they don't want someone maybe like, it's not even that they don't want it. I'm not saying that. I don't know the rules because I don't deal with this, but they probably want to be mindful of like who you are. Like, are you on any medications? Like, what's the situation, you know? You apply and then that's it. And then I forget how soon you'll hear back, but you will hear back, maybe in like the coming weeks. Okay. You'll hear back and then boom, you're in. And the applications thereafter, once you complete the program as an old student, like I am now, much easier because it's the new students that are in high demand. It's the old student list that there's just usually room for the old student. And you'll see on the website, it's segmented. There's new student applications and you'll see wait list, and then there's old student applications and you'll see open. Okay. That's usually how it is. Also, it's segmented. You'll see the segment of new student men, new student women. Okay. Sorry to anyone who doesn't identify with any one specific binary. I'm not sure how Vipassana navigates that. I did notice that the last one I went to, I'm just going to take off my sweater because I'm overheating here. I did notice that I definitely had, there was definitely one second. Sorry. That's my third episode of the podcast in the car. I did notice that there was someone who I would deem to be like, they looked, my assumption, judging a book by the cover, they looked non-binary. It was not obvious how this person had like their gender expression. They were a volunteer, so they were an old student. I don't know. Let me know, by the way, if you know. Send me an email, spencer@socialdynamicsnerd.com, because it's basically going to be segmented, separating men from women in the experience, which I found to be awesome. And that was also plus side, right? Like, I'm going to go to Argentina, 10 days of having lodging, a roof over my head, and meals fed to me while I'm just meditating and I'm just chilling around women. Oh my God, yes. Paradise. So you got to apply early. You'll get in and then you go. Now, when I went to Argentina, it was kind of funny that I did that because it's so random. And my friend Martin, who actually lives in Buenos Aires, when I told him like, this is what I'm doing, he's like, oh, okay, cool. And then after I would be in Buenos Aires, then after I'd actually be staying in the city and living the life. But like for the first 10 days, this is what I'm doing. You won't be able to access me. I'm not speaking, no, nothing, no phones, none of it. Just me in silence and meditation among other people doing the exact same thing. And he's like, okay, where is it? Well, in Argentina, it was in this little town called Branson. And he was like, Branson? Like, it's just so random. The most random thing ever. I'm like, yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. And I kind of had to figure out my journey to getting out of Buenos Aires into Branson all on my own without having really any Spanish too. I don't really speak Spanish, especially back then, even less so than now. So it was sort of hilarious because during the registration process where you're still speaking because it hasn't technically started yet, I'm around mostly local Argentinian people. And then there was like me and 2 other gringos who spoke English. And the good news, by the way, if you're wondering about that, like, should you travel and do Vipassana like I did? Well, the main program material of it all happens in English. It's the translation that happens after. Now, when the facilitators are speaking to you, maybe making announcements, they might be speaking in the language native to where you are, and the translation might come thereafter. But the actual program of Vipassana, the instruction that's in a recording of Vipassana throughout the 10 days, it starts in English, and then the translation will come thereafter. So same with when I was in Quebec this year doing it. Same thing, bilingual, because Quebec is French and English, primarily French, to be honest. But it was the same thing where the program is in English, and then there'd be a translation in French thereafter. And so I've actually never been to a Vipassana where it's just English. Maybe that's next. Maybe I'll go to Ontario or whatever and just experience pure English. Not that I need that, but I'm just saying there's always been a translation available. So that's also what's cool about Vipassana is how like it's international, it's accessible. Like you can do it. Anyone can do it from what I've seen. I don't know the limitations. And again, I don't know how people navigate the gender non-conforming, non-binary, whatever of it all when like there's a man side and a woman side. I don't know. And I would like to know if anyone has the answers. I would be curious to know. And when I do find out, I'll include that in the next time I talk about Vipassana. So when I went thinking it's going to be all super duper easy, I was quickly reality checked to figure out, actually, no, like this is hard. This is tough. And what's fun is that the teacher himself, so there's, I don't remember his name exactly, Goenka. He's like this hilarious man, this hilarious Indian man who's just like funny and wise, and you get to watch a videotape of him every night. It's sort of like the cherry on top, because all day long, the day starts, by the way, optionally so, but it does start at 4:30 in the morning for the first 2 hours of meditation. You can technically sleep through it, but if you really want to lean into the experience, it's pretty good to just go up and do it. Like, if you're going to do the 10 days, might as well go all in. And I can speak from that with experience, because the first time in Argentina, I didn't really go all in, and the second time I went all in. So I kind of got to taste both realities. The only thing you have to meditate, the only thing you have to be present for is there's 3 hours of meditation, but an hour each, split up. There's an hour that starts at, I think, 6 in the morning. And then there's an hour after lunch, so probably at 1 p.m. And then there's another hour in the evening. And in between that, there's a lot of meditation, but it's not mandatory. You don't have to be in the hall meditating. So the first time in Argentina, I found it to be incredibly difficult, and yet I was only attending the mandatory meditations, only those 3 hours that I have to be there. I attempted to be in the hall for the optional meditation. Well, it's recommended, but it's optional. You can go back to your room, you can go lay in your bed, and you can go take a nap. They don't advise that. They literally advise, if you're going to go to your room to stretch out or whatever, keep meditating, keep practicing Vipassana. But of course, myself and many others, because you know this, because you could hear them snoring, are sleeping during that quote unquote free time. And I did the least, and yet I found it to be so exhausting. And it's so funny, because I think I would have quit the first time. I think I would have quit, if not for the fact that I didn't know how to communicate with the facilitators, because they actually didn't speak English. The facilitators themselves. There was one woman who was working in the kitchen who spoke a little bit of English in the end. And this became evident, because I'm not going to go into all the details of my experience, but I had something happen where I needed help. I had like a burn on my face that I kind of did to myself by accident. And it was getting pretty bad. And I was actually starting to be really nervous about it. I spoke to my facilitator. I'm like, hi, and I point at my face, this like weird patch of flesh that's like boiled away next to my mouth. Probably looked like an STI or something. Like, it was just like a weird thing I did. I went, asked my facilitator for help, and she was like, no hablo. I'm like, fuck. In the end, I managed to get help from the somewhat English speaking woman, but, my point in saying this, I found the first time in Argentina to be challenging, and I think I would have quit. But to quit, I would have to express that, because they had my phone, I can't just sneak out. I got to get my stuff. And it's not recommended that you quit, although you're welcome to. No one's holding you like hostage in the experience. People have left Vipassana, and the times that I was there, like, I actually saw people leave. So be it. It can be challenging, right? And I wanted to as well. And I felt like, thank goodness I went to Argentina, because I don't know, like, would I have quit if it felt like accessible to me? I felt like I put myself in a hostage situation, because I put myself in an environment where I can't communicate with anyone. So that's cool. That worked. It's almost like I unintentionally mastered myself by putting myself in a situation where, like, I have no choice, sort of. It's tough to quit. How do I explain to them? Like, yo, kid, I quit. Yo, vamos, casa. Like, what am I going to do? So it was tough, but rewarding. What is so challenging about it is that, my girlfriend at the time was right. Hey, you can go sit in a jungle and trip the F out on ayahuasca. Oh, wow, you're so tough. You're so this, you're so that. What about just like sitting and confronting nothing but the sensations in your body? And that is the tool that you will learn through Vipassana that I don't want to spoil much, because they have a really cool way that throughout the 10 days, you are gradually engaging with the practice. They sort of baby step you through the process of Vipassana. Day 1 is level 1, day 2 is level 2, day 3, and they sort of just like there's an incremental exposure to the practice of the meditation and using the tool of your mind and your body. And it's very simple. There's no om, there's no mantras, there's no idolizing any gods. And I think that's also what I like about this and why I'm a big fan of it, is because not that I'm very, I can engage religion. It's fine. I'm for it. I'm not anti anything, but it is so simple. It is literally all they're introducing to you is, here is how to sit and observe the sensations in your body. Observe the sensations. Observe the sensations. Observe the sensations. And so it's not sensational in the way that ayahuasca is. Ayahuasca, oh wow, I was in the freaking cosmos and I was vomiting insects and it was wild, like it's sensational. Well, what about, hey guys, an hour and 14 minutes into this podcast, I'm suggesting you just go and stay in silence, eat very simple vegetarian meals. By the way, the meals are pretty good, I have to say. Eat very simple vegetarian meals and be woken up every day at 4:30 a.m. by a bell, by like someone hitting a gong, and then pull yourself out of bed, wheel yourself out of bed, 4:30 in the morning and make your way to the meditation hall and sit down. And that's it. That's kind of what it sounds like. And sit down in silence and meditate. Yeah, for 2 hours in the morning. First thing, 2 hours. Okay, cool. Now you can go eat breakfast. Okay, cool. Now you have 30 minutes to go outside if you want. Now, go back to meditation. Now, you can go return to your room if you want to, or you could stay in the hall and meditate. Now, lunchtime. Now, you can go be outside for like 30 minutes or an hour. Now, mandatory meditation. Now, optional meditation. You can go to your room, or you could stay here and meditate. Now, dinner time. Actually, no, it's not. There is no dinner. So the Vipassana meals, there's a breakfast, which I really liked. There are a lot of options. It's all vegetarian. They even do vegan options. So for instance, at lunchtime, if they had, let's say, a casserole that had cheese on top, they'll also have a vegan option available to you. It's very simple eating. They encourage you to eat less than you feel like you need to. And I feel like the meal times, I can tell, were really energetically charged moments of the day, and how meal times really affect people, especially people who are tired, who are like strung out on all this meditation. I could just always tell at mealtime, people were on edge, I would always observe it. As a social dynamics nerd, I would always observe like, damn, people are on edge here. And I subscribe to leadership. I think Simon Sinek has a book called, I'm whipping this out of the back of my mind. I've never read it. It's called Leaders Eat Last. And as I've alluded to in the previous episode, I'm big on leadership. I like leadership. It's a value of mine. So I would always place myself at the very back of the line and wait for everyone to have eaten first, just because I could tell like, some people here need it more than I do. Some people here are like stick thin already as it is. Some people here are elderly, it's pretty much all ages. I think probably just like 18 to 100. Like it's just anyone could really be there. And so I'd place myself at the end of the line and eat whatever scraps were left. When I was in Argentina, it was a lot like that. Scraps at the end of the line, scraps. They had limited resources. Which I thought like, wow, Vipassana, like you gotta be really mindful. But eventually when I did it in Quebec this year, I realized, no, there's an abundance. No, in Quebec, it was always excess. They never ran out of food. So it really made me appreciate, like Argentina was just doing their best in Branson at that facility. They were just doing their best with what they had. So when I can donate financially, if I can choose a facility, obviously I'm choosing Argentina first, because I'm like, dude, they did so well with what they had. Thank you. Once I was in Quebec doing it this year, I'm like, damn, there's so much food. They never run out of food here. Whew. There's a lot of food. You have so much food. It's all good. It's just a lot of vegetarian food. It's a lot of simple food. So you'll feel like probably like really clean, if you will. Like I felt very like clear throughout the experience because of how I was eating. Like, I feel like good. Also, when it's encouraged that you don't eat as much as maybe you normally would and you eat a little less, it's not to just be like, no, be restrictive. Like, this is about abstinence. This is about abstention. No, it's not even that. It's literally just, it's a little easier to be in your body meditating when you don't feel so heavy. And also you'll notice, what I noticed rather, is you don't need to eat so much when all you're doing all day is sitting and meditating. Your body's not working the way it would on maybe an average day when you're moving about. So it's a lot easier to eat less because you're not burning as much energy. It's okay. It's okay. And there's a breakfast. It's very simple. There's like oatmeal, there's cereals, there's fruit, there's coffee, there's tea. Honestly, there's like toast, there's butter, there's jam. It's pretty fucking great, if I'm being honest. Like, I loved it so much. Man, it's so good. And then a few hours later, after some, outdoor time, some meditation time, then there's a lunch. The lunches were great too. Like, honestly, the meals were good. Shout out to Vipassana. It was good. Shout out to the staff. Shout out to the volunteers. Hence why I want to do a service period at some point. Like, shout out to everyone who holds it down. Shout out. They're vegetarian. There's the vegan option. Like, there's just like some good meals. And then it's pretty much done. Because after an afternoon of you have a solid, like at lunchtime, you have a solid hour of free time. Like, most people are outside walking, whatever. And then there's the mandatory meditation. Then there's some more optional in-hall meditation. You can go to your bed and pass out. Not encouraged, but you could. Or you could stay in the hall and meditate. After that, there's a snack time. Now, this was interesting because the snack period, it's basically just you get to eat fruit and have tea. It's a tea time is what it is. You eat fruit. That's all they make available to you is fruit and tea. And they offer only to the new students, so the first-time meditators. The old students, such as myself, so I got to experience it this year, at tea time, it is advised not to eat fruit. Your fast begins after the lunch period. And you can have tea, I can have tea, but that's it. And I can add honey to my tea or whatever, but that's it. The new students can eat fruit. So I got to experience that. And it was fine, I have to say. Like, I was into it. I really liked the practice. I really loved Vipassana. Even though the first time I was sort of like, get me out of there, because I found it to be really confronting. It was exhausting. Like, oh my God, another bell's ringing. Oh, okay, it's time to go eat. Oh my God, another bell. Okay, it's time to go meditate. It's uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable to sit upright like that, to hold the meditation position. It can be super uncomfortable. But that's kind of also a part of it. Like, there's an aspect of observing the sensations of your body. Now, should you do so to an extent where you're really pushing yourself to an absolute point of discomfort? No, and they will address that. Obviously, you're allowed to make adjustments so that you can find your comfort. And even you can use support systems. There's a lot of cushions, a lot of bolsters available to the meditators to assist. This time, the most recent one in 2025, my second time, when I was really coming in informed by what the experience is like. So I was very resolved about doing every single meditation and being very disciplined about it. I had, there's like a seat sort of, like a back, like I sit on this little meditation seat that gives me back support. It's not perfect. Like, it's not totally comfortable and relaxing, but it is a little bit better because I was able to really set myself up so that I was propped up and not feeling too much stress on my body. And that was the thing, circling back to being hit by the car and all that. The first things that were really coming up for me, a few things were coming up for me in the first meditation of the first 10 days in Argentina. I was feeling a lot of the pain in my knees, and I was feeling a lot of sadness and grief about that. And so I'd spend some of my meditations, yes, meditating, yes, using the tools they were presenting to me, but also crying, like quietly crying in my place and feeling frustration and feeling, all the sensations of that experience of my inner world in relation to my life and what has happened and all the things that have changed. All of the grief and the frustration of like, damn, it fucking sucks. It hurts. Just sitting here hurts. God damn it. It hurts in my knees. It hurts. I'm pissed. But what do I do with that? I mean, I just keep meditating, really. I just keep meditating. And it really, if you've ever seen the meme from the game GTA San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, it opens up with a cutscene where when you start playing your main character, CJ, Carl Johnson, he starts the game and he's saying, "Ah, shit, here we go again." Okay, this is a meme that's gone around the internet, but it's also anyone who's played the game, which I did when I was a kid, you'll be familiar with this reference I'm making. The way I felt in day 1, day 2, and day 3 of my first ever Vipassana meditation, every single time it was like, after day 1, it was, "Ah, shit, here we go again." Because I felt like I was spawning into the same thing every day and it was like super uncomfortable. Here I am thinking I'm going to have a vacation. It's a free vacation. It's a walk in a park. I'm just going to do a little bit of meditating in Argentina and enjoy my life. Free meals, free lodging, good life, good times. What is found and what is said through Goenka's video series every night, the little cherry on top at the end of your day, a little moment to relax and enjoy some wise man laughing and discussing Vipassana with you. And the values, the tenets of like this meditation and this lifestyle. He'll say, "Let me guess." He's a really good marketer. I have to give him that. He's very good marketer. He'll be like, "Let me guess. By now you're realizing this could be all so fun and so good. The best time of your life. If only you didn't have to do the meditation part," right? It's hard work. Here you are thinking it was going to be fun. It was going to be good. It was going to be easy. So nice. Such a great time. Great facility. Great food. Great. Just good. I'm happy. But the meditation, it's a lot of work. And so it's fun because you kind of had this like wise teacher who's like trolling you every night, being like, "Yes, you thought it would be fun and easy, but you were wrong." And you realize now this is hard work. And that's kind of how you're paying through the karma of the experience, is you are devoting yourself to the work. And like, what is the payoff for the technique of Vipassana? It's basically to perpetuate itself, because you are not attached to the discomfort and dis-ease of being in this life, and how the pain that we feel that is unresolved in us, the tension points unresolved in us, can propagate itself in the world in more disaster, in the pain that we inflict around others. And so it's about recognizing that cycle then and there. And so the payoff and why it gets to be free, why it gets to be accessible is because it pays forward through you engaging with the practice. It's so cool. I'm such a fan of that model. I'm all for it. I mean, I'll be so sad if some sort of scandal comes out and Raj like, "Oh, it turns out Goenka was a disgusting guru." I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Even if that did happen, I don't believe the technique is about him. He's just a great orator who discusses it every night for us. He brought it to the Western world. He made it like the thing, you know? But the technique itself would still be valid in my mind. I would just feel like, damn it, like nothing perfect ever exists. But I don't think that's happened yet. So, thank goodness. Once I hit into, I think it's either the end of day 3 or day 4, I forget exactly, the entire technique of Vipassana is revealed to you when you're a new student, and you realize they really lock you in. Okay. So this is when it really kind of changed for me, which is why I appreciate it. I don't want to spoil the whole experience because of how incremental it is. They really lock you in and they're like, okay, now we are practicing Vipassana. You know, they've given you these little baby step tools to really like get accustomed to this experience, but now we're locking you in. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it was basically the moment where it changed for me, where I realized, oh my God, okay, I can do this. It was a really tough sitting of meditation. It was very challenging, but I felt like I can do this. I'm doing this. I can't believe I just did that. I can't believe I just did Vipassana like that. And again, nothing happened. I didn't see any mystical spirits or do anything. I didn't drink any magical jungle brew or anything. It was just that I actually sat without any adjustments, there's nothing. I didn't move. I didn't anything. I felt discomfort in my body. I was feeling resistance to the process, but I just kept doing it. And then when I was told by the facilitator, this period of meditation is over, now you may go excuse yourself, I couldn't believe, like, oh my God, that happened. I did it. And so then there was sort of a shift in my first experience where I felt like, damn, baby, I got this. And I started to feel more locked in. And so if you do engage with Vipassana, my hint to you is that in the beginning of the experience, you feel some resistance to what is happening. maybe like don't give up on yourself so quickly. If you want to run away, just hold on. Sit with those sensations, engage with the tools that they're presenting for you, because you'll be surprised. You'll maybe surprise yourself. That's how I felt. Once I surprised myself and realized, damn, I'm a meditator, baby. Lock it in. Say my name, little Miss Meditation Queen. More attachments. I got this. Once I locked it in, the following days thereafter felt a lot more like, okay, I'm here, I'm doing this. And yet I have to say, in that first experience in Argentina, I still did only participate in the mandatory sessions. And I would retire to my room to go like lay down and just meditate laying down horizontally, or usually fall asleep. And so be it. I don't regret the way I engaged with that first experience. It was really good. Really cool. And in fact, I can give so many like insights and talk about even the talking day and meeting people, but it's fine. Go have your experience. I'm just telling you like what the overview of it all was. The second time I did so this year for my birthday. So it was cool. I was earlier this year, after I left that job. Hi, HR, maybe if you guys are listening, hello, in cannabis production. I'm sorry if there's beeping. Like I said, I record in a car and it's garbage day. I think that they're leaving soon. A little bit of background noise. After I left the job this time last year, and I was once again, like, the reason why I left the job, the long story short, it had a lot to do with like, no, I've been through the whole boundary valuing oneself lessons before. I was hit by the car and I was forcibly like, had so many aspects of my life torn away. It's so painful when you don't already operate with a degree of boundaries and self-respect. And so when I saw that cannabis job and their corporate optics playing with me, it's like, guys, you have no idea who you're messing with, because I've already stepped away from a paycheck and like a life accolades that most mere mortals would not have the courage to. So the idea of staying here for your little slightly above average minimum wage job where you guys are absolutely exploiting us, like all things considered, a job is a job, but considering the absolute wealth that cannabis production is giving the top dogs in the hierarchy of like who's winning here, do not think you can play with me, because stepping away from this little lousy ass situation, like you underestimate how much I was here as like a hobby. Like this job was like a hobby for me that also paid me. Yay. But when you start playing with me, I've already learned the lessons of self-respect and boundaries. I've paid a much greater price. So screw you. And that's why I left when I left in the way that I did. So earlier this year, since I would have quit, literally my last technical day on that job was the last day of 2024. In 2025, I was like, okay, well, what do I do this year? What do I do? And I looked at what Vipassanas are around, because, if I'm going to be unemployed, might as well do a 10-day meditation. It could be nice to have a reset. If my first one was in 2023 at the end of the year, what about doing one in 2025? And I saw, oh my goodness, there's one in Quebec that's happening on March 12th. So that's March 12th to March 23rd. And I thought, like, because it's more than 10 days, March 12th is the registration day, and then all the days in between, and March 23rd, I guess, is the day we leave. March 12th, I thought, oh my God, that's so perfect, because for me, and my birthday is a whole other episode in itself. For me, my birthday is March 12th, and my birthday is a very deeply personal day. Very, very, very much so. It's quite a day. Oh yes, quite a day. Quite a day of grief, a day of sadness, and there are reasons for that, but let's not go into it just now. And so I thought, oh, that's perfect, because on my birthday, I'm always looking to do something special for me because of the nature of the day, always. So I thought, Vipassana, that's awesome. And then this time when I went to Vipassana, unlike the first time, I was really knowing, like, now I know. Now it's not just me challenging my ego and having like the little dare that my girlfriend had given me at the time, where she's like, oh yeah, you think you're so tough because you go hang out in the Amazon jungle and like drink ayahuasca? Oh yeah, try meditation. She was right. It's tough. It's tough. And my aftermath reflection was, I guess I kind of wish, or I would have been simpler to just start with Vipassana, and if I wanted to drink ayahuasca after. It's like I did it in the reverse, and I really think that Vipassana had greater payoff, because it was more grounded in this reality. I can actually identify with the tools. Rather, like ayahuasca is, different, you know, it's just different. Another can of worms, you know? So March 12th going in, I was really feeling a lot of intention, and I fucking locked in, baby. I locked the fuck in, and I got my post retreat validation on the talking day from one girl who, it was her 7th time attending Vipassana, and she's my age, my goodness. Not even, I think she was slightly younger. It was her 7th time attending Vipassana. She's very beautiful, I have to say. It's funny how at Vipassana you'll encounter all these amazing people who, if you don't get their number or know them thereafter, they're just like passing strangers, and there's something nice about that. You know, you like have nice connections with the people around you, and then it ends there. No attachment needs to come from it. So I'm talking to this girl on the talking day of the Quebec retreat that I did this year, and she gave me the feedback saying, "You are so disciplined." And she was her 7th time retreater. She said, "You're so disciplined." And it's why did she say that? She said, because every time she went in the meditation hall, she always saw me. And that's something you'll notice. And I noticed it my first time too. Like when you're going in and out of the meditation hall, when it's optional and you could be going back to your bedroom, you'll always see that there's like some people who just fucking lock in. They just sit. And I remember on my first time, because I wasn't that person, I would notice them. I'd be like, damn, the girl who sat right behind me meditating, she was that girl. Always looked like a rock just sitting there. She was always there. There are a few other people like that. So this time my intention was, I want to be that girl. I want to go all in. I want to make the most of this experience. So 4:30 a.m. I was up, I was taking a shower, and then I was in the meditation hall. And I basically attended the meditation hall every single time it was available for me, except for once or twice when I was in the meditation hall and I kept nodding off, which you might find happens. You're sitting upright, you're doing the meditation, but I kept nodding off. And when it's a mandatory meditation, so be it. I just keep nodding off, but like waking up, nodding off, waking up. But when it's an optional meditation and I'm nodding off like that, at a certain point, it's okay, brother. Like I just gotta go. I go lay down, catch up on some sleep. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I discussed in the previous episode, all or nothing mentalities. There's nothing wrong with like, oh dear, I'm sleepy. Let me go lay down. I don't give a fuck. Jesus. But I did make the most of it all because I was always meditating when I could. And that was really satisfying to kind of experience it. Like the first time, it was the challenge of even just feeling comfortable doing it in the first place. And then the second time, it was me just doing the most of it as much as I could. Like only a few other people were kind of on that level with me. Only a few other people were always in the meditation hall. I had the one girl next to me sitting on my right. She was so sweet. When it was talking day, she said, like, you gave me so much strength. She said this to me, you gave me so much strength because every time I was coming in to meditate, I would see you there sitting upright doing it too. And you know what? My answer to her was, likewise. Are you kidding me? Because like every time I looked, you were always there. And there we were sitting next to each other, anonymous. We didn't know each other, you know? And like she was getting strength from me. I was getting strength from her. And that kind of goes into the philosophy of what I was discussing in the first episode of this podcast. Like, I don't just do the things I do for me. I do it for you too. And the things you do are for me too, you know? So it was just so cool that this girl was giving me so much props for being there because it made her feel a type of way. And I'm like, girl, you were ripping the words from my mouth. You were there for me, you know? It's just such a nice gift. It's a nice energetic gift. And, what was my point? My whole point is I am a huge fan of these tools because of how it's helped me explore and sit with and be okay with my inner world. And that in spite of everything, feeling the existential crisis of my mid to late 20s, of losing all the things I was attached to, all the things that enriched my reality with good identity metrics, good optics for social approval and the world approving of me and getting a thumbs up from everyone, but also being deeply misunderstood in the sense that even if this all looks cool and all that, but where am I? Who am I? Who is this person doing this stuff? Who cares? I'm not happy. I didn't really know. I didn't know until I got hit by a car. And I have a very esoteric lens on the world, and I don't ask that anyone subscribes to my esoteric lens on the world. But part of how I like to think is, wow, I'm so stubborn. I was so stubborn and misdirected and misguided and so stubbornly in my little routine of being the Spencer that I was for a while, that it took me having the terrifying divine intervention of an actual BMW charging ahead while I'm also being stupid and irresponsible. I mean, let me be clear, the driver was in the wrong. The driver got a ticket. The driver was in the wrong. But my energy when I was riding my bike at the time, I felt invincible also. So you can imagine, like, it just takes me being so naive and misguided and so in need of divine intervention that it takes a freaking white BMW barreling in my direction and me slamming my brakes with my hands because I was riding a freewheel bicycle, which now I ride fixed gear because I find it to be safer and way more fun. Though more painful on my knee, actually. It's kind of like torture, but, you know, I'll work through that. I got to let go of the fixed gear identity and get back on freewheel. But anyways, I digress. It took that divine intervention of that BMW barreling at me and then launching me into the air, past its car, onto the pavement that I broke the fall with my knees, just skimming the top of my head with the ground, goddammit. And then everything that fell apart right after for me to come to my senses and realize, oh my God, like I need to change a lot. And it's not like, I'm not even like, maybe one day I'll get a cool marketing job again. If any, the hiring managers listening to this are like, fat chance, bitch. You sound insane. There's no way we're hiring you. No way. Please go support me at my website, www.socialdynamicsnerd.com. Everything that exists there is there to help you. Let me just be clear. Any way that you can support me, it's just bonus points. At this point, I'm just trying to almost operate with a degree of karma in the same sense that Vipassana leads, where I really want to make the best resources possible as accessible as possible, because why gatekeep? Why gatekeep the most precious tools of the universe? And I'm not saying my social skills advice is any kind of precious tool, but I know it's useful. I know it's good. It's good for some people. So don't hesitate to check it out. And if you feel inclined to engage with my life financially, well, hey, yeah, you're voting against the hiring managers. Thank you for that. But you know, maybe one day I get a job like that again. So be it. I had fun in marketing. Are you kidding? Once I got my groove going, it was fun. It was fun. I love working. I love working. I really do. I really do. That's why it pains me when employers misunderstand their workers. Like, don't underestimate some real ass motherfuckers. Big mistake. Big mistake. I might go back into those realms of work, but my point is the way I would do it is different. Because I no longer feel so much value in, like how people are perceiving me, or like the number of followers I have, or like the kind of people I hang out with. Oh, like these cool, sexy, super duper cool people who I hang out with. Yeah. Or like my cool job. Oh yeah, let me pick up the bill. Let me pick up all the bills. I got the money, which by the way, I love doing. I love having money and paying for everyone's everything. It's the coolest thing ever. That's my motivation. That's my selfish interest. Like I want to be that person so badly. But when I can't be that person, it's okay. It's okay. There are other ways that I can offer value into situations. I have other skill sets. I have other ways. I have like that preciousness of that energy, you know, that the silent validation I get from my fellow meditators of them saying like, wow, thank you for being there. What did I do? I didn't even open my mouth. No words were uttered. No words, you know? So it's about really like honing in on the person I am, with the intentions I have for the world and what I want to see into this world. And honestly, the way I feel, if you want to know the real and the whole getting hit by the car thing, which I don't think I need to make an episode about that. I think that this has been a hybrid. This almost 2 hours now has been a hybrid of the time I was hit by a car plus Vipassana. It's story time with tools. I hope you've enjoyed it. But what was going to be my point? I'm so good at riffing without a script until the moments when I lose myself. I remember now. In fact, thank you for listening. I'm going to take a sip of this Spindrift grapefruit. Sometimes in my esoteric thinking, that day I was hit by the car, sometimes, and this actually led to some almost like crisis thoughts in the existential, in the following year plus. Sometimes I would have the thought of like, what if I did die? What if I'm dead? What if I'm dead? You know, what if I thought of that time I was hit by the car as I am dead. I'm dead. I've died. This is actually all just a hallucination. I'm literally dead. And thinking like that can be interesting because it can either be really liberating, but also terrifying. Because when I have thought like that, okay, hiring managers, stop listening right now. You've been canceled. You're banned, or any opinions you have thereafter doesn't count in a professional sense. I'm teasing, by the way. I'm just playing. I like callback humor. What if I'm dead? And as much as that can be at times a freeing thought, it's also freeing in a negative way. Because sometimes it made me feel like in the year plus after I got hit by the car, I would not consider consequences as much because I was sort of in an existential dread thing where I'm like, yeah, okay, I need to change the course of my life and all this and that. But now that I don't have anything like that I've been formerly attached to, who cares? Fuck it, right? Like, fuck you, suck it, bitch, fuck you. And at times I was acting up because I was sort of playing with the limits of what I can get away with. And when I encountered bad characters or people who upset me in that time when I felt like I had nothing to lose, that's what it was. I felt like I had very little to lose. I thought, ooh, big mistake. You just mess with someone who has little to lose because I've already felt the experience of losing so much. So in fact, I'm in a very powerful position right now because people like you, I'm thinking of some encounters I've had. You have shit you're attached to. You're weak. And I could exploit that, loser. That's the part of me that's saying that is the part of me that like was existentially, ooh, I'm dead, nothing matters, which can be really risky territory because then there's no grounding philosophy or value system that's actually keeping me with good behavior. Now, thankfully, I do have that value system, always have. So I always did. I only ever edged into bad girl mode. I was edging. It was edge play. But ultimately, the gift of coming back to good is really where I enjoy finding resolutions. And so the alternative or the positive reframe of what if I died that day? What if I did die? What if this is all a hallucination of mine and I'm dead? Or like I'm AI hallucinating right now. My soul has been reincarnated into ChatGPT. I'm just hallucinating into my phone app, my voice notes app. What if I'm dead? I can have it in a more positive sense of, life is so fleeting. It's so fleeting. If you know me, I have a tattoo on my wrist. My first ever tattoo, it says Die Wise, which is a book by Stephen Jenkinson. Die Wise, a manifesto for sanity and soul. Life is so absolutely fleeting, and I could die. I've found out it's that easy. I could die. I might even be dead right now. I could die really easily. It's that easy. It could happen really fast. Just one bad move, one driver not paying attention, boom, done. That's it. Having said that, knowing that it's so fleeting and it's all happening so fast and like life, regardless, even if I died later in life, like it's moving by really quickly, time itself is just happening. It's happening. And you're spending that time listening to me. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I am really speaking from my heart here. And I hope that is felt. I hope you're feeling that. Well, knowing that, it makes me feel like, okay, I have a lot I can do still. Like I'm okay with death. In theory, I'm ready. Kill me. Please don't. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm ready. I've sort of confronted that tower moment of perspective of like, okay, and so what? Let me go. It's fine. Let's go. It's all good. But I sort of feel like, okay, but I'm here, it seems, unless this is a hallucination. I am here. And so while I'm here, knowing that it could happen so quick, my death, the end of my life, knowing it could all unfold so very quickly, just like that. Well, it's maybe arguably a gift that I get to be here and that I didn't seemingly hit my head too hard and that I can still walk. And like, I do have this gift of life and I have so much around me. And you know what I would find in everything after losing so many things that I was attached to? I always found that but I still have so much love in my life. Fuck, all these people really care about me. These people don't care. My friends, my loved ones, like they don't care that I don't have the job or the money. Like they don't care. And that was so healing. To reflect on. And as much as I would feel sad for those people that love me, that if I were to die, like they would have to go through grieving me, I would want them to know, like, dude, it's fine. I'm so happy I got to know you. I'm so happy I got to share moments with you. I'm so happy I got to record podcasts in the time that I did. Hopefully these get published before I die, otherwise they'll just sit in my phone, in like a landfill. I'm so happy. My life feels so full. And knowing that it can all happen so fast. Well, I guess I'm at that point in my life in this like turning into 30. I'll be 31 sooner than later in March 20, March 2026, I'll be 31 years old. I just think like, okay, well, let me do shit. And so that's where things such as my social skills resource is coming from, which you can find on my website, www.socialdynamicsnerd.com. Because I want to be able to leave something behind. And at a certain point, it does feel like gatekeeping to kind of have the mind that I have and the heart that I have. And I believe I have a good value system. I have good perspectives. And I believe I have genuine intentions for people around me. And I don't believe in like fronting or faking anything. Like I'm really working on just being myself, which is why if a hiring manager is listening to this, I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? Because I believe in the gift of authenticity. Like I'm not a perfect person, but I'm a very willing person. I've been a very complicated person. I've been like a villain at times, but only at times. And somehow I always circle back to something good. And I think that willingness and that resonance with goodness, it's not just like, oh, I'm a blessed person. Maybe I am, honestly, who knows? It's not just that. I've always kind of acclimated myself to having a really deliberate value system. A value system, which by the way is big. Even though my social skills resource at the time of recording this isn't completed yet, the groundwork of it all that I've already been working on for the last year, on and off, I don't want to claim I've worked on it for a whole year, that would be inaccurate, but on and off, it has a lot to do with one's value systems and paradigm of mind, and really attuning yourself to a better frequency, to have that freedom of like, I don't need anything at this point. I'm full, my cup runneth over, and I really just want to give. I want to give. And I don't inherently need to receive. You know why I don't need to receive? It's not like I don't want things. Like I want love. I want money. I want to pay your bills. I want to like buy my girlfriend first class flights or whatever. Like I know that sounds superficial, but of course I have an ego. Like I'm of this material world. I want to live like life in a cool way, and I want to feel the rewards of my engagement with life. But the reason why I'm saying I don't need is because I've noticed that the more I operate from a framework of literally wanting to give value, to lead with offering value, I just naturally find myself being rewarded in return. Like I don't need to strategize for it, because it's sort of like it all kind of takes care of itself. And that's where I've been very inspired by the model of Vipassana and like the retreats that they offer, again, all over the world. It seems, maybe not in North Korea. I don't know. I don't know. There may be some limitations, but if not in your town or your city, maybe the next town over. You know, I went to Argentina. Damn it. I went all the way to Argentina and did it. I'm from Canada. It's accessible. It's donation based. It's not required that you donate. There's no pressure. It's so giving, and it gives so much, even though it's so simple. It's so simple. You're going to go meditate. It's so simple. I love how accessible it is. It makes me feel so safe. It makes me feel like, God, I wish life was like this. Like, this is good. And it's tough to want that, because that's what I want. That's the whole point. I'm trying to offer tools that can be useful to people in the ways that have been useful to me, and keep them either completely free or very affordable, very reasonable, for the sake of no other reason than, like, of course, people in this economy, in a capitalist society, like, we got to make money here, but to what extent, to what cost? Because I guess what I'm realizing more and more, and especially in the last year, having sort of like, I've had a minimum wage job while, you know, working out. I'm a big overthinker before I have been applying to jobs. That's why I'm talking to the hiring managers and stuff. Like, I've sort of been lackluster applying to jobs I don't even really want, in like industries I don't really care about, even though I know I'm a good worker and I'd be a great candidate. It's just kind of like, all right, well, I'm actually much happier working my minimum wage job, where my boss is like really cool with me and I get to be myself, because I have that. It's not enough to like thrive financially, but you know what? It's enough to make sure I break even across the board, and I just have enough left in me to like build my own projects. And I'm sort of placing the bet that where my heart is at, and my intentions for you and the people around me and for myself, the payoff will come in maybe a slow burn way, where people they start picking up what I'm putting down, and there's a gradual payoff. And maybe one day I might return to that place I once felt in my mid-20s, where I'm like, I have too much money than I know what to do with. And might I just remind us all, it was more money than I knew what to do with, but it wasn't even over 6 figures for a year. Okay. But it was still up there. And at the time, again, more than I know what to do with how I lived. And honestly, I live even more cheaply than I did back then. So it's sort of like the resolution I came to in the last month thinking about it, I'm like, I could just work a really, like, as society would say it, like, lame, underwhelming job, a job that people don't put on a pedestal, but like I enjoy, and just make my minimum wage and work on my projects and then die. I could do that for as long as I'm able-bodied. I could do that. And that's tough, right? Because sometimes able-bodiedness gets in the way of, like, for instance, that kind of came into play with the cannabis production job I quit a year ago. The knee problem was flaring up, and there was a misunderstanding with management about that. And I didn't like how they handled that, and they know that because I made it really clear where I stand, where I limp. I make it really clear where I limp. And I knew, like, listen, it's almost like it's like a karmic, it's like a timeline. It's like the time machine is talking to me through this pain in my knee. Like, I was already hit by the car, and now here's my knee basically screaming at me saying, get out of this job. And it's not that I didn't love the job. Like I said, I would pay to do that cannabis stuff, the harvest. I would pay myself to do it, just to do it, like attending Disneyland. I would do it just to work my ass off to make someone else a millionaire. I would do it because it's that fun. I like the work that much. But when the physical nature of it all is like too demanding, well, then I can't quite work like that anymore. But for right now, where I'm doing pretty well, and if anyone listened to the previous episode, you know my New Year's resolution for 2026 is to get in great shape again, to get good in my body, embodied again. Well, like, I probably have at least 5 to 10 years of good steam in my body to work a menial labor job that makes menial money so that I can build a resource that would have changed my life when I was younger. A social skills, a confidence, a self-esteem, value-building resource. And to do it as affordably or as free as possible so that I can perpetuate the value of, like, what I believe in when it comes to the tools such as Vipassana Meditation. And so I'll wrap up here before we even hit that 2-hour mark. This is so fun. The podcast format. This has been so fun, even though I'm all alone. Like, maybe I'm not. Maybe there's a lot of people listening. Maybe it's just you and me. It's been so fun. Thank you so much for listening. I know I've opened up a lot here, and I hope you've done the room cleaning or the long drive. And I just, like, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. I really feel like as I'm capturing these thoughts, a lot of what I'm doing is just capturing that, exactly that, like the beginning. A new beginning. I've had many, many, many beginnings. And I'm happy to say, like, it's okay to start over and start again. And if you want to be exposed to tools that can help provide a deepening of introspection, and if you want to really have that kind of pattern interrupt this year in 2026, or whenever you're listening to this, check out Vipassana. I'm not going to try to spell that again. You get it. VIP, Vipassana. Look it up in your search engine, whatever you're using. They're all over the place. It can be free. You can donate, whatever. Wake up early for the application date. Do it. I think it takes like 5-10 minutes to finish the application. Get in. If you don't get in that time, try again. Okay, try again. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. It's all good. Like, trust the universe, trust the divine timing. Trust it all. Trust the tower moments. Trust. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Spencer. This has been really good for me, so thank you. And as I've already alluded, the resources I'm working on, everything is just going to be funneled back to my website, www.socialdynamicsnerd.com. That's where I want to put everything. I don't want to oversell what's going to be there. Maybe at the time you're listening to this at the beginning of 2026, it's still going to be the bare bones of just enough. But that's where I'm going to be massaging into, like, everything. That's where I want to put everything. That's where I want to flesh it all out. So trust me, trust me. Okay. And be patient with me. But I promise I want to give my best foot forward and offer as much value as possible just for the sake of giving. And yet the twist is, the more that you operate with that frame of giving, you'll find so much more comes back. It comes back. It keeps coming back. So I hope that will also be a theme in your year as well. Thank you for listening. Spencer signing off.